We have now our 7 finalists. We're almost done. It is Miss Radeyah Ali, and she will be speaking on the topic, should the state be allowed to arrest homeless or displaced persons for loitering? Miss Radeyah Ali.
Homelessness does not discriminate. Homelessness transcends age, gender, race, religion, and sadly, sometimes even education. I found Dr. Grant's book, The Loitering, Homelessness in Trinidad and Tobago, to be truly enlightening in describing the plight of homeless persons in our country. As Dr. Grant reminisces about his childhood, in New York, he remembers his great-grandfather talking about the most celebrated homeless man in the country, the famous John Craig. It was striking to me that celebrated and homeless could ever be used in the same sentence, far less to describe the same person. Dr. Grant went on to describe that John Craig lived in the University of Woodford Square, and the passers-by showed him respect and dignity as he would be seen reading from scholarly papers that he himself had written. This really struck me, since homeless persons usually have a negative stigma attached to them and are usually thought of as being uneducated and the outcast in society. From Dr. Grant's research, it was found that some of the reasons for homelessness include housing problems, family problems upon release from prison and discharge from hospitals. Interestingly, a large percentage of homeless persons suffer from some physical or mental disability. It is thus not always the case that homeless people are uneducated or should be seen as less of a human being. Sometimes, they are really just held captive by the injustices and prejudices of society. Sadly, instead of the empathy and professional help that they so desperately need, homeless people are often stigmatized and ostracized. Section 45 of the Summary Offences Act, Chapter 1102, creates the offense of loitering, with the fine being either $200 or imprisonment for 1 month. Chief Justice Wooding approved a definition of loitering in an Australian case, which stated that to loiter is to remain in a restricted but not necessarily defined area without any apparent or legitimate reason. On Friday, 12th June of this year, it was reported in the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian that 17 street dwellers were arrested and charged for loitering in San Fernando on Harris Promenade. As the legislation purports, they were all ordered to pay a fine of $200 or face 1 month imprisonment when they appeared before Magistrate Wellington. I ask you, what reason other than I have nowhere else to go can a homeless person give when asked to give a legitimate reason for why they are loitering? It is my view that this legislation criminalizes homelessness and that it is unreasonable, since homeless persons survive by begging or through the charity of others. They thus cannot be expected to have $200 to pay this fine, and it is unfair to have them arrested for 1 month for this reason. Furthermore, if a homeless person is arrested or convicted under this legislation and is sentenced to 1 month imprisonment, how does that help the root of the problem? It merely exacerbates the situation of homeless persons, not to mention overcrowds the already overcrowded prisons. It is a lose-lose situation. It is my view that homeless persons should be provided for socially, mentally, and financially until they are able to provide for themselves. I believe that homeless persons should be given the opportunity to be rehabilitated and reintroduced into society. I believe that the first course of action for an offending homeless person should never be arrest or imprisonment. What has been their crime? Homeless persons are only guilty of being rejected. Homeless persons are only guilty of being ridiculed. Homeless persons are only guilty of being treated as less of a person. Homeless persons are only guilty of not being cared for by the people who are supposed to care. Homeless persons should not be punished for social constraints outside of their control. It is my view that homelessness needs to be decriminalized, and that legislation demanding that homeless persons are taken to a safe facility where they can be cared for and rehabilitated should be passed and stringently enforced. They need to be provided with the basic human needs of a person: food, water, and shelter. In Dr. Grant's study, homeless persons identified housing, employment, rehabilitation, therapy, and medical evaluations as their major needs. They stressed that they need the government's help in order to once again become normal people and fully functioning citizens. In conclusion, homelessness is a very prevalent problem in Trinidad and Tobago. It threatens to stay well beyond its welcome in our society today unless something is done to provide a safe and meaningful way of rehabilitating our displaced persons as opposed to arresting them. I leave you today with a quote from Dr. Grant's book, From a Homeless Person with Whom He Interacted. It goes, "We do not need confinement. We do not need to be in jail. We need help." I thank you.